Good morning and welcome to another Tech Talk from Digital Jersey. Today we're going to be joined by Marbral Advisory on the Change project, and kind of to emulate that idea of change, we're going to mix up how we usually do our Tech Talks today. And you're going to get this pre-released material so you can digest it and then give us some questions for the question and answer session. So there's some information here. That's where you can just submit your questions to. Get your phone out, do that QR code, or type in that bit.ly link. The capitals are important. Or just send us some messages either through email or social media, the usual channels that you can get hold of us from. So hopefully this will be a little bit more interesting and give you enough time to really go over the important messages that you're going to hear today, and then have a shorter time on Wednesday morning when you can actually just spend that 20-30 minutes listening to us have a chat rather than dedicate a whole morning to it. And I think that's how things are changing up now. So a little experiment in the essence of change, as we're about to hear from now.
Hello, my name's Nancy Thomas, and I am really excited to be with you today to be talking about the Change project. I've been working in change for about 20 years with different sizes of organisation, from corporations to SMEs. The one thing that is constant, of course, is change, but different humans, different people react to change in different ways. I personally have found some of the change tools and techniques that belong to change management really useful, both in my work and my personal life over the years. And our hope in the Change project with Dawn and Sasha is that we can open out some of those tools and techniques to provide something useful for the wider community.
I'm Dawn Rutherford, and I currently work for Marbral Advisory, working across the Channel Islands on a variety of change projects. I'm a qualified change practitioner and have over 30 years of experience working across a number of sectors, but predominantly within the financial services environment. I joined forces with Nancy and Sasha earlier this year to start to develop the Change project as a way of sharing my knowledge and experience with a wider audience. So why did I choose to do this? Well, I absolutely love change. But having spoken to family and friends and work colleagues, I know that this can cause tremendous amount of stress and unhappiness for people, especially when the amount of change is so significant and when we're not equipped with the tools to support ourselves through the change. I really hope that you find this session useful and it gives you some tools and techniques that you can take away today.
Hi, I'm Sasha Ogden. I've been working at Marbral Advisory for 1.5 years now. How does change make me feel? So excited. I really want to promote a positive outlook on change and hopefully raise awareness through the Change project to empower others. Being part of the Change project not only has been a great learning experience for me, it's brought Dawn, Nancy and myself together to get creative, understand the world of video recording and deliver free change content to the wider community. We hope to grow the project based on your feedback, so please do get in touch. You can email us at hello@marbraladvisory.com.
Two 2020 and 2021 have seen a huge amount of change in our professional and personal lives. Our vision and the driving force in setting up the Change project is to share our change knowledge and experience to empower others to cope better in times of change. At first, we wanted to engage with middle managers and new to role managers, those people who were in roles of responsibility and perhaps had not had chance to access specific training in order to tap into those all-important change management tools. So we decided to establish a focus group. We wanted to hear from the people on the ground, how their industries were impacted from the pandemic, how they were coping, and how best to suit the needs of the community we were trying to access. We'll be hearing from some of our focus group participants later on. Following the focus group sessions and as the project evolved, there was a common trend in themes. We then decided to build content based on these themes and have now created tutorials for building certainty, personal change fatigue, organisational change fatigue, resilience, speed of change, and communication. In order to reach as many people as possible, we decided to create takeaway sheets in English, Portuguese, and Polish. They are all free to download on our website. During this virtual event, we will give you a flavour of the project and share with you some of the tutorials we have created. Nancy and Dawn will discuss both personal and organisational change, deep diving into certain topics such as change resistance, the speed of change, and resilience, followed by a Q&A to finish. We have all been on our own change journey in developing this content, but we do hope to grow the project based on your feedback. So get in touch, we would love to hear your thoughts and questions.
What is uncertainty? It refers to the epistemic situations involving imperfect or unknown information. It's the state of being uncertain. Usually, our brains make decisions for the future based on our past experiences. When the future is uncertain or experiencing something new, we can't rely on our past experiences to inform our decision making. So, how do we react? The sense of uncertainty about the future generates a strong threat or alert response in the human brain. Your brain detects something is wrong, and your ability to focus on other issues or tasks diminishes, leading to hormone surges, an increased heart rate, and stress. Being in control of our environment provides a better chance of survival. Humans crave information about the future, the same way we crave food, sex, and other primary rewards. That's why living with so much uncertainty can be challenging. Research has found that people vary in their ability to tolerate uncertainty. One size does not fit all. Ask yourself these questions. How do you generally manage uncertainty? What skills and strengths can you use if something unpredictable comes your way? So, what can we do to build certainty during times of uncertainty? Reflect on the past. This allows us to process information, increase self-awareness, and challenge our thoughts and ideas. Self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Wake up in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror and say, you look great today. Practice acceptance. Respect the process and your current place. Acknowledge that everything is or can be temporary. Practice self-care. Mind, body, and soul. Go and dust off that yoga mat. Stay in the present. It's the here and the now. Fully appreciate moments of today. Plan for the future. By making a plan and setting goals can make you feel more positive and give you a direction of travel. By focusing on these steps, you can help build up your tolerance in managing uncertainty. It's important to accept that life is uncertain and constantly changing. There will always be events that are out of your control, but there will always be ways to help you prepare and build certainty into your life. I will leave you with this quote from William Constantine.
Thank you, Sasha. I love that tutorial on building certainty. And of course, a lot of building certainty is about building resilience. And I want to take a few minutes to talk to you now about what resilience is and then talk about what we can do to give ourselves the best possible environment for building our own resilience. But first, let's take a look at this graph because it can help to frame our thinking about what resilience is. On the vertical axis, we have capacity, and this is our time that we feel that we have, or our capacity to cope. On the horizontal axis, we have challenge, and this is the amount of things that we have to cope with, or the magnitude of things that we have to deal with. So if we're in the green zone, this means that we have a lot of capacity, we don't have a great deal of challenge. This is, of course, the comfort zone. This is where we are most comfortable and not particularly challenged. In this zone, we can use a lot of what we can call automatic thinking. We're not really working out how to do things, we're just doing things on autopilot. Now, for those of us who can drive a car, we can think of it in terms of how we learn to drive that car. When we're learning to drive a car, or in fact doing anything new, we learn in a process, in a step-by-step. So we check our mirrors, we depress the clutch, we move the gear stick, and we follow a specific process. Now, at some point, for many of us, after we pass our test, we can arrive somewhere, having driven the car, and we can't even remember how we got there. That's because we've shifted from our slow thinking into something called automatic or fast thinking. The process is there, it's embedded in our minds, we don't have to really actively think about it anymore, and in fact we can do it whilst we're even thinking or doing something else. So this takes less energy than when we're trying to work something out. Now, if I flip you now down into the red zone, this is where we can experiencing a great deal of challenge, and we perhaps don't feel we have the capacity to cope with that. And these challenges might be several challenges, or they could be one or two very, very challenging things, perhaps something traumatic or very, very stressful. And this is the red zone. And this is where we can experience feelings of feeling overwhelmed or feeling panic. Now, in the middle, in the growth zone here, this is where we have just enough capacity and just enough challenge. And this is where we can really grow. And we can use our fast and automatic thinking, but we're also using our slow thinking. We can work things out and we can grow as people. So here's the thing about resilience. In order to build resilience, we really need to experience the red zone and the growth zone. And this is where we learn that step-by-step process, our coping mechanisms for building resilience for the future. So how can we give ourselves the best possible environment, the best possible opportunity to build our resilience? Well, there are a few things that we can focus on. And the key here is to focus on the things that we can control. And first of all, we can think about the kinds of thoughts that we're having. So we can help ourselves by having healthy thoughts. And perhaps stopping and thinking about the kinds of thoughts that we're having. So if we are having negative thoughts, if we're thinking negatively about the future or negatively about incorporating the change that we're experiencing, then we can maybe challenge ourselves and try and reimagine a more positive future and a more positive outcome, and try on different things that future might look like. We can also bring purpose and meaning to our day. Having purpose and meaning is really important to us as human beings because it really helps with our self-esteem. If we don't feel that what we're doing is important or has that purpose and meaning, then we can experience some negative feelings about why we're doing that. So we can add on purpose and meaning to what we're doing. And sometimes volunteering or even a random act of kindness can help us to boost our self-esteem on a particular day. And community is key. And community is different for everybody. So for some of us, community is having a wide network of people that we are frequently interacting with. And for others of us, it's having a very small community, perhaps one or even just two people that we contact infrequently. The point is to recognise and understand what's right for you as an individual, but to make sure that you reach out to that community and have those links open. And we can use our community to bounce ideas off each other, to sense check some of those healthy or some of those more negative thoughts that we're having, and perhaps bolster up our self-esteem on the way. And of course, being able to do that for others will bring that purpose and meaning into our day as well. And finally, taking care of body and mind. And we hear about eating well and exercise a great deal. And we also talk about self-care. And again, this is understanding what's right for you as an individual. So for some of us, running a marathon or training for a marathon is absolutely the right outlet. And for others of us, it's being able to take a healthy walk around the block. It's what's right for you and what makes you feel good. But it also means giving yourself the time and permission to maybe watch your favourite TV show or to read your favourite book. Giving yourself the time to enjoy the things that you really find pleasurable can help you to stop and to recharge and put your mind into the best possible place to build the resilience and the coping mechanisms that you need to take you forward. Today we'll be talking about the speed of change. So first of all, let's talk about what we mean by the speed of change. And it's how we adapt to the new and increasing speed of change and what coping mechanisms we can put in place. We've all experienced a great deal of change in the last 12 months, both in terms of our personal life and our work life. And we've come up with some new and innovative ways of connecting with each other. But we've gone from busy shared office spaces to empty workplaces with new rules and regulations that change very, very quickly, sometimes daily. So we've had to create new ways of working, and we've had to cope with a great deal of change very, very quickly. So what can we do to help ourselves to cope with that change? Well, first of all, we can reflect and we can understand how we react to change. So how have we reacted to change in the past? Do we go to it or do we push it away? Knowing this can help us in the future. And we can be curious. We can try on new ideas, we can ask questions about the change and build a picture of what a new future might look like. And we can train our brain. So in the same way that we can train our body through exercise, we can train our brains by doing the same things over and over again. By exposing ourselves to small, manageable pieces of change, then we become better able to cope. And of course, our support network has never been more important. So whatever works for you in terms of a support network through friends or colleagues is going to be very helpful. And flexibility. Being able to be adaptive to change one day and the next is absolutely key. So to recap, we understand how you react to change. Be curious, train your brain, create that support network and be flexible. Coping with the speed of change has its challenges, but by following these simple steps, we can give ourselves the best possible platform to deal with that. I'll leave you with a quote from Dave McLaughlin. The pace of change means that relationship is more important than ever before.
That was really interesting, Nancy, thank you. We've all had so much change to deal with lately, and some of that is happening really quickly, especially for those who work in the retail or hospitality sectors, and even for those in office environments where restrictions have changed so frequently. It can quickly become very overwhelming for people, and it means that we can't just operate on autopilot anymore. We have to think about everything that we're doing, and that can make us feel very tired, as it takes so much energy from us. So I now want to talk about something called change fatigue, which you may or may not have heard of before. So let's start with the definition. Change fatigue is a condition characterised by the lingering mental and physical tiredness associated with organisation change. The sufferer feels neither excitement nor optimism about the change. This can lead for individuals a sense of unhappiness and also creates high levels of stress. And for organisations, it reduces the level of productivity within organisations. In periods of significant change, even the little things seem huge. We've all heard the saying, the straw that broke the camel's back. So I would now like to touch on 3 things that organisations can do that can help people's ability to absorb change. And these 3 things are trust, team cohesion, and personal well-being. Gartner suggests that trust and team cohesion can increase our ability to absorb change. So let's explore in more detail what practical steps we can take. So let's start with trust. So as trust, this is not a given by your employees. They do not automatically trust you. So you need to work at it and build trust in your actions and communications. Some areas that you could think about focusing on are a clear and transparent vision for your organisation. And then when you've got that vision, do what you say. Build a plan to get there and communicate quick wins to reinforce that you've delivered on what you promised. If your plans change, make sure that you communicate this clearly and simply, and by leaders that are trusted. Trust can allow you to absorb 2.6 times more change. If you trusted the person with his hand held out in the picture, you're much more likely to take the leap without having to question why, when, and how. All of this takes extra effort and energy that is precious during times of significant change. Let's now go on to team cohesion. So what is team cohesion? It's about everybody understanding and moving in the same way. A common goal. Once you know your vision, ensure everybody understands the part they play. Build communities within your organisations, so not to build silos. But also when the goals change, make sure that they communicate them. They need to be flexible in this time of constant change. But I would suggest that you use your teams to collaborate and innovate. They may have better ideas than you. So according to Gartner, team cohesion allows us to absorb 1.8 times more change. If you feel part of the journey, you understand it much more, you buy into it, and there is much less discussion and delay, which again can cause change fatigue. And finally, personal well-being. Well, it's personal, but organisations can promote this through leaders' role modelling, how they look after their own well-being, taking breaks, flexible working, positive working environments, team challenges, walking meetings, allowing the teams to talk, sharing with people techniques for focusing on things that you can control. Brain training, helps your brain move quicker through the change. We all have different strategies and so we need to be diverse. For some people it's about talking to individuals. For others it's just taking a moment just to breathe. But organisations can create the right environment to make these things happen. And although everybody needs to take their own personal responsibility, I do believe that organisations and leaders have a part to play in creating the environment where people are allowed to focus on it. So what about me? For my personal well-being is a morning and evening walk, to wake me up in the morning and normally to calm me down at the end of the day, to have a separation from my working environment, especially when I'm working from home. If I leave you with a quote from my boss, Leonie McCran, the leaders who forge ahead right now will be the ones who have their sights set on their most valuable assets, their people. In times of crisis, leaders need to focus on engagement, motivation, physical and mental health, security and communication. Well people with purpose drive productivity, and growth are a win-win.
As a hotelier, I think it's probably fair to suggest that our industry is one of those that's been most severely impacted by this pandemic. Everything changed for us, and it changed really quickly, virtually overnight. We're an industry that is totally dependent on people and personal interactions. When hospitality and travel was closed down, this meant effectively that our lifeblood was cut off. We didn't have the luxury, like so many others, to be able to work from home, to conduct our business via Zoom. The very essence of our business requires us to engage face-to-face with our customers. Everyone's talked about the speed at which it came and how nobody was prepared. We soon realized that as rapidly as things were changing, that we needed to adapt at the same pace. And in the past year, in the absence of any certainty, it's what we've done. We've adapted all of our activities and our product offering. We've developed new products and services, new methods of working. Of course, at every step of the way, you try and make the right decisions. But because the goalposts are being moved so frequently, it means that these decisions need to be reviewed and adapted. There are so many external factors that have an enormous impact on our business, yet are totally beyond our control. And in this constant state of flux, it's incredibly unsettling for our employees. I mentioned at the beginning that we're very reliant on people, and this is not only having lots of customers come through our doors, but lots of employees too. We're a labour-intensive industry. One of our main preoccupations throughout the current year has been about how we build resilience in our teams. What they've gone through is the worst of any group of people. In terms of work, everything that they knew and recognised was suddenly gone. The work that they did was no longer required or available. There was uncertainty as to whether they'd even have a job in the long term. So we had to create new roles quickly and ask our employees to adapt. We had to ask them all to work in areas that were new and unfamiliar to them. We had to ask a group of people with different degrees of skills, of experience, age, even to go and do something completely new and to do it as well as they could. We've done all of this in order to get through the situation and hopefully emerge on the other side in a period of relative normality. And what's most required for us in that normality is to have a group of people who are still healthy, happy, motivated, and able to deliver an excellent level of service. The type of service that will define what a customer thinks about our business. And one of the main reasons I was so keen to get involved in this change project was exactly that, to understand and learn the experiences of others from other industries. Most importantly, to benefit from the knowledge and the expertise from people like Nancy and Dawn, so that I would be better equipped to help our employees cope with the circumstances. Every single one of the concepts, the themes that have been covered in the project is hugely relevant to us, and I can personally relate to each one of those. In particular, what I'd like to get out of this, what can benefit our organisation and all of our people, is learning how to build resilience and developing coping mechanisms. I think it's great the way that it's been put together in these little bite-sized learning modules, which are ideal for our team. It makes it accessible for everyone, and it also deals with a certain subject matter that our employees are not normally exposed to. Within our group, I intend to make this available to everyone and really to encourage everybody to participate in the sessions, see what they can pick up from there, because I think for all of us, it's going to prove hugely helpful over the coming months.
Wow, what a year we have all had. Who would have thought that a global pandemic would bring the world to a standstill, bring us closer together and have us out on our streets clapping for our heroes? But that is exactly what we have done. As the main gateways to the island, both Jersey Airport and Jersey Harbour remained open throughout. At the start, this was extremely challenging. There was so little information and so little knowledge about the virus and the impact it could have on all of our lives that we had to ensure our staff continued to work as best as they could with as little information as we had at the time. We very quickly realised that communication was going to be absolutely key. We formed relationships with the local government and the local medical experts, and we started to begin to receive information in a timely fashion. This information was then being cascaded to our teams so as to ensure that they had the latest information and that they were adapting to that information, following the guidelines and maintaining their safety. We were, however, now being told to work from home. Our teams were operational, running the airport and the harbours, and we were managing them at arm's length. Communication inevitably became really challenging. Our staff was so used to having face-to-face meetings, corridor chats. If they were feeling unhappy or they had an issue, they could just pop up and see us. All of a sudden, that was no longer available to them. So we very quickly realised that we needed to turn to the virtual world. So this is where we introduced Microsoft Teams. This became the main form of communication with our teams. This posed some challenges. Not all our team were IT savvy. Not all our team wanted to communicate in this manner. So we had to re-educate them that they could still communicate, but through their mobile phones or through their laptops. This very quickly became business as usual. However, it didn't feel the same. We no longer knew if our staff were happy, if they were sad, if they were having a good day at work or a bad day. We were reliant solely on what they were telling us. We did not want our staff to suffer in silence. So it was absolutely essential. We kept communicating with them. We kept asking for two-way communication. As and when things were changing, we were constantly communicating this with them. Our staff showed an amazing level of resilience and adaptability. We were constantly asking our staff to do more, to go above and beyond, carry out tasks that they had never carried out. We had staff assisting with a testing centre. We had staff who were carrying out security provision at the hospital. We had firefighters driving ambulances. Wow, I cannot express how agile, how adaptable our staff became. We never thought that we could do it. We never thought we had it in us. There is one thing that this pandemic has shown me, is that we can do it. We can build resilience. We can be better and stronger people if we adapt and we embrace change. We will never hopefully experience change at the fast pace at which this pandemic has delivered. However, I do believe that this pandemic will make us all much better people, much more resilient, and we will be able to face any change that the future brings in a much more positive manner. We will feel much more equipped to deal with that change. We will adapt and we will be more resilient towards change. And that cannot be a bad thing.
Wow, quite a lot of information to take in there. And that's why we've done it in this format now. So you can go back, you can re-watch the things that really resonated with you. And great to see that kind of focus groups, the information coming in. So thanks to Nancy, Dawn and Sasha for that. And on Wednesday, we'll be having a Q&A, deep diving into some of the areas that I found very interesting, and hopefully your questions too. So don't forget to add those questions in on social media or the QR code or the link above. Even comment on this YouTube video. Loads of different ways to get that information to us so we can put those questions to the Marbral team. So thanks to all, and we'll see if this format works, and if you like it, also leave your comments about that, and see you on the next Tech Talk. Thank you.